Hey everyone, today we're checking out Samsung's latest and greatest smartwatch, the Galaxy Watch 7. Probably not the greatest, the Ultra is probably the greatest, but you know what I mean. Let's get into it. Now at first glance it may not look very different from last year's model, the Galaxy Watch 6, but trust me, under the hood there's a lot of changes. As for the changes on the exterior of the watch though, you do have a few, including the new accents on the home and recents button, and that's it. It looks exactly like the Watch 6. The biggest updates this year are all internal, as I said before. The first thing is there's a new GPS module, which is a dual band module. It's supposed to be much more accurate than the one before. You're getting double the amount of internal storage in terms of ROM, which is moving from 16 to 32 gigabytes. You're also getting a pentacore processor, so it's supposed to be much faster, and I think when we talk about much faster things now, we need to realize that benchmarks are the only things that can really tell the difference from modern processor to processor, because everything is relatively fast. And lastly, we have the new Bioactive sensor. So it's a new sensor package on the back of the watch that Samsung again is saying is much more accurate than before. The Watch 7 boasts a lot more health sensors on the back than the Watch 6. And I mean, you could look at the back of the watch and tell that there's a lot more going on here now than ever before. There is a ton more LEDs and a ton more variants in colors of those LEDs. That's very important because if you look like me, the way how watches typically get a reading on your health through your wrist is to shine green or red light through your wrist, take a reflected value, a reflected value, and then use some kind of algorithm to determine the blood flow and your blood oxygen level, so on and so forth. It's actually very difficult to take a reading through your wrist because, I don't know, somebody in the medical profession can explain that. It's more difficult to do it for people with more melanin in their skin, as red and green light gets absorbed at greater levels with more melanated skin than if you have lighter skin. So what that means is when you get that returned value, you basically have less to work with, and so it's less accurate. I can say that this watch, the Watch 7, is way more accurate than the Watch 6. And I've only done a few walks and runs with the watch, and what I have is like the peak heart rate, lowest heart rate, and average heart rate, because Samsung makes it very hard to export out a single run or activity from their watch. But what I have seen is that it consistently matches my benchmark value. The benchmark value I use, by the way, is from the HR Polar strap. So it's just a hard to read strap that goes across your chest, and the diodes directly touch your chest, so you're more likely to get an accurate reading from that. There are some cool things that are made possible because of this new active sensor and the new processor in the watch. There's a lot of AI tools. For example, you have Samsung's Energy Score. Their Energy Score is an amalgamation of all the health data you've gotten on your watch, including your heart rate while sleeping, the heart rate variance, your temperature while sleeping, so on and so forth, and it goes on and on. It takes all of that information and then comes up with a single score between 0 and 100, where 100 means that you're in pretty good shape, like you're perfectly ready to take on some kind of strenuous exercise or some activity like mountain climbing or whatever you're into. 0 means that you're in poor health. You should probably go sleep, rest up, or something. The next important thing enabled by this new bioactive sensor package, and this processor is the AI tool used to measure your AGES index. So what is AGES? AGES is the Advanced Glycation End Product. So I don't have a medical degree, but basically what they're measuring is some kind of buildup of some kind of lipid and protein mutation or like transformation in your bloodstream. And the greater number of that they can measure using this watch can determine whether you're going to have poor health outcomes. So this is purely lifestyle based, so depending on what you eat and how much you work out and so on, you can either show up as being high or low. If you're low, you're healthy, you're good. If you're high or close to high like myself, you need to go work out and eat better. For me personally, this watch has kind of pushed me to not eat certain things and to try and not eat late at night or go buy fried food or buy McDonald's or Burger King. So for me at least, this is kind of working as a motivation to live a healthier life. Moving on from all the healthcare stuff, let's talk about the screen. I said it before in my unboxing video, this screen looks nice, like undoubtedly. It looks like the image is painted on the screen, and that to me is like A1 screen design. But apart from that, the screen is extremely bright. You'll have no problem seeing this in direct sunlight. The watch also features a microphone and a speaker. You can use this for voice calls, obviously, but one thing that I like with this versus like my Pixel watch is I can use it to listen to Spotify or any other music app. That's not an option on some smartwatches, Pixel, Google. But here it is. And the speaker is actually passable. Like, you could listen to music on your watch and not need headphones. The microphone also is pretty good. I'm going to play a recording from the microphone on the watch so you can get an idea of whether you think it's good or not. This is audio recorded on the Galaxy Watch 7. This is audio recorded on the Galaxy Watch 7. I went on Instagram and saw Randy starting Vlogtober, and I thought, that sounds like something interesting. That sounds like something I'd want to do. So this is... Now let's get into the things that I don't like. And these complaints probably aren't fair to the Watch 7 because I'm really comparing it to the Watch 6 Classic. The first thing is, while the digital rotating bezel is cool, it doesn't compare to the physical rotating bezel of the Watch 6 Classic. I don't know how to better phrase this than there's just something that speaks to you mechanically when you're able to rotate the physical bezel of the Watch 6 Classic. There's heft to it. There's something that feels analog and beautiful about it. Versus this, it feels hit or miss sometimes. Like, depending on where I'm touching on the edge of the bezel, I might be going in the opposite direction of where I want to go. The next thing I want to complain about is the vibration motor. If I only had this watch for a reference on what the vibration motor feels like, I'd probably be okay with it. But feeling the strength and magnitude of the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic's vibration motor, this pales in comparison. It's not even in the same league. I also have some notes on the software, so this isn't watch specific for the Watch 7. I don't like that the app drawer has no labels. That, to me, is ridiculous. And I get that Apple also does this, I think. Yeah, they do. But it requires me to actually know what each app icon is, and if I'm new to the Samsung ecosystem, I then have to basically tap up a bunch of icons to figure out what they are. The same thing can be said for the quick toggle menu that you swipe down to get to. There are a bunch of icons that I don't know what they do. There's one specific one with 2 raindrops or water droplets, and I don't know what that does. I would like some labels. Give me the option to put labels until I'm comfortable to just do it by icon. Jumping over to something I like that they moved the gestures, some of these gestures up from the accessibility menu to the main menu into the gestures and buttons menu. The one for knock knock specifically I use for workout, to like launch a workout. Pinch to select is cool when it works, and also it kind of feels useless outside of answering and ending calls if you don't have a way to, without touching the screen, navigate the screen. So that would be like the old Motorola 360 did like a flick, so you could go up and down the menu, or in Samsung's watch itself, in the accessibility feature, you could do a tilt to select, so it will bring up a mouse and then you can go through. Or you could do like, I think it's double or triple tap to move forward in the menu and double tap to go back. Double pinch is what I mean. I would like to have those options move up into the buttons and gestures menu. And another thing I don't like about the software, this is a lot of complaining about the software. While you can do some minor customization of the two buttons on the watch, the home button, for example, you can only do a few things with press and hold. You can launch one of two assistants, which would be Bixby or the Google Assistant, or you could do the power menu. And the recents button can only do recent apps or the back, like back to the previous app. Come on, like give me more options. It's my watch. Allow me to customize it the way I want. I would like to have a double tap for the recent button and to be able to launch an application like that. I don't want to be able to change my press and hold on the home button to do more than just those few options. I'm sorry. Give me the option. The only real customizability you have is with the single press of the home button that you could choose to do almost anything. Now let's go back to the actual watch. I'm sorry about complaining about software for the past few seconds. The battery life is okay. You get 1.5 days of battery life, or I've been getting that much, with all the tracking on. So continuous heart rate tracking, sleep tracking, temperature, so on and so forth, with the always on display. That is not so much a problem because I've been used to getting only a single day from like my Pixel Watch original, the first Pixel Watch. But since moving to the Pixel Watch 2, I've been getting better battery life. The problem though is that to charge this watch from 0 to 100 will take you almost 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours, which is a really long time to be charging your watch. The watch battery is small in comparison to other devices, so it's just the delivery of power that's making this take so long. To wrap up then, why would you buy the Watch 7 over the Watch 6, considering the price? Well, I think that's just the wrong question to ask. The real question is, why would you buy the Watch 7 over the Watch 6 Classic? I think if you prefer the more digital, bezel-less design, if you want a faster watch and you can't deal with the lag of using the sixth generation of watches, you want something that's primarily used for health tracking, then you should probably get the Watch 7. If you care more about your watch being like a beautiful watch and something that talks about your own personal style, if you care about the rotating physical bezel and like having tactile feedback, it's actually a pretty cool fidget spinner if you're into that. And if you're not really bothered by the slight jank in the speed of the 6 series, then you should probably get a Galaxy Watch 6 Classic. In fact, in my own experience, I traded in my Watch 6 Classic to get the Watch 7. I kind of regret it. I would prefer to have that physical rotating bezel. The speed changes aren't substantial enough to make me feel like this is worth it. And while I do use a lot of those health tracking features of the Watch 7, it's something I could live without. It also is just giving me a lot of paranoia about my... So take from that what you will. Anyway guys, I really appreciate you watching this video if you made it this far. Please support the channel by liking, subscribing, telling a friend about it, sharing with a person who is probably thinking, do I get the Watch 7 or the Watch 6 or the Watch 6 Classic? I will catch you in the next one. Bye.